Okay guys, I have another interview for you guys. This is the recent issue of Pash magazine. It's the largest women's gaming magazine in Japan. It's been running for decades right now. This is the November 2025, I know what year I'm living in, edition of Pash magazine with a special Qiuyuan front cover and also the 2.7 poster on the back there. This is a special, it says Qiuyuan and also Men of Wuthering Waves edition. They've got a bunch of other things in here for other different series and games and such, but near towards the back they have 18 pages full of content on Wuthering Waves here, descriptions of the different characters including Galbrain as well, and then they've got this special interview here with Qiuyuan, as in like not the VA. They do have a special section for the VA, for the interview with the VA himself, but this whole section here, this is an interview with Qiuyuan himself, as in like they're speaking to Qiuyuan. I know it's kind of weird, right? But it's not just this interview. They've also got like other sections later on. Like I said, the second interview, they do have a small section where they interview the voice actor here. This is Miki Shinichiro. This is his section. But also up here as well, they've got another section where it seems like Rover is also interviewing Qiuyuan. So we've got like 3 different interviews. We've got the interview where Pash magazine is interviewing Qiuyuan. Then we've got this little section here of like where Rover is asking Qiuyuan about themselves. Like, can you tell us about yourself? And then you've also got this third interview here with the voice actor. So yeah, they also have other sections later on where they basically have the same thing where the Rover is asking every other different character like bits about themselves too. Like this is the page for Jian. They've got all the male characters they're going to be asking here. We've got Alto, Mortefi, Zhang Yao, etc. Yeah, so this section here is also asking where Rover is asking Zhang Yao about himself, and same thing here for Mortefi, Alto, and Embu, which is the Japanese name, Yuanwu, Ling Yang, Brandt, Kalkro, and also little sections about each of the other like minor characters. Gesholin, Yan, Scar, not so much a minor character, same thing for Cristoforo. There's not much in terms of these 2 characters here, neither for either Fenrico or either Avidius too, so. But they have a lot of different stuff in here, but in this video I want to give you guys the interviews, a focus strictly on Qiuyuan, and then I'll get in another video all the different little tidbits and trivia and lore stuff for the other characters as well, if you're interested for that. So with that being said, let's get straight into the interviews. A look into the mind of a mysterious wandering swordsman, Qiuyuan. Cool and resolute as a bamboo, although he is blind, he is an excellent swordsman and once member of the secretive Meitei sect. Now free, he travels the world alone. Qiuyuan, thank you so much for appearing on the cover of this edition of Pash magazine. And also thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. To be honest, we're a little surprised. We'd heard that you don't usually appear in public that often. Think nothing of it. I am nothing more than a nameless individual. I am sure I am not suited to such an occasion, but since I have accepted your request, please feel free to ask me anything. First of all, could you please tell us how you feel about appearing on the cover? As I am a traveler, I often sleep under the stars, so it is not uncommon for me to go without meals. In that respect, I fear this may be too great of an honor for one such as me. To clean oneself, change one's clothes, and respond to posing instructions for photography, it may be easier for one such as myself to wield a blade and fight against my enemies. I would like to extend my thanks to the photographer for their enthusiasm. I still have yet to see the finished product, but I have full faith that they have taken a good photograph. I'm curious about something you just mentioned. When traveling by yourself, not being able to rely on sight must have brought about many inconveniences that others would have difficulty even imagining. How did you go about your daily life and preparing for each day? To be sure, there are inconveniences, but as a traveling wanderer, I cannot afford to spend time facing the elements. Once I stayed at the home of an elderly man. Whilst there, I was able to cook meals, concoct field medicines, help patients, and perform other chores. As I did so, I gradually became more proficient. I see, even cooking. Would you mind telling me more about that? For example, even though I am without sight, it is possible to cut things with care. Whilst standing, I hold the knife stopping at the joint of one finger and move the other hand, gradually getting used to that motion. When boiling water, I check the heat of the fire with my hand and listen for the boil. As for taste, it goes without saying that I still have my sense of smell and taste. By doing such things, even if you were to lose one of your 5 senses, it would not become too much of a hindrance. Later in my position working for the government, out on duty I was often thankful for learning to cook. While the food I made wasn't particularly palatable, it was edible, and best of all, I am able to eat without worrying. It seems you found your own way to live in such circumstances. How about when you go to an unfamiliar region? How do you grasp the landscape, the environment, and adapt to it? When traveling to land I have never stepped foot on, the first thing I do is listen to the sounds. I sense the ground and feel the reactions from here and there, as well as the flow of the air. By knowing these things, you can understand the space. The grain size of sand or mud, dryness, wetness, the presence or absence of water sounds, animals such as birds and the like. I sense all of these things to determine my surroundings. There are also differences in the sound of wind. Pine trees or bamboo, the sound of the wind changes depending on the trees and other plants it passes through. Wind passing through valleys or the low sound of it hitting against rocks. Even if I were to fall into a hole, I can rely on the sound of the wind to see how wide the passage is and also where the exit is. There are also some things which cannot be seen with the naked eye. Oh, I see. So how about in towns or cities? How do you go about those? In the case of such lively places, I'd pay attention to the atmosphere of the people. The emotions and intentions hidden in voices that can be heard serve as clues to prevent crises before they occur. For someone who has served as a government official for many years, paying attention to these things has become almost instinctive. If there is a chance of success, the only course is to take swift action. That is incredible! Would it be possible for you to share any kind of specific examples with us? When I first stepped foot onto Rinasita, my ship docked at Raguna. At that time, the breeze out at sea was stronger than on shore, with a strong scent of the tide. There were many people coming and going about their daily lives, and although there were many sightseeing boats, it was nothing out of the ordinary for a port. I felt the flat and delicate paved cobblestones lined intricately along the ground must have been there for many years. But what caught me most off guard was the particular atmosphere. People seemed to be in a hurry but hesitant in their words and actions with a sense of exhaustion. It was as if they had been suffering from bad dreams for a long time, so much so that it was difficult for them to bear it much longer. I wondered why such a port town had become like this, to have such an air about it. I also heard another sound, that of a play being performed by a group called the Troupe of Fools, it seems. It can certainly be said that they stirred up those around them, to raise their spirits and arouse enthusiasm. Qiuyuan, you have traveled to many places and overcome many difficulties until now, but is there anything that you are searching for in particular? I am nothing more than a man wielding a sword. If there were something that I desire, I suppose that it would be a sheath. A sheath? What do you mean by that? Depending on the person, a sheath could be the place where one rests, a place to practice, to fulfill their duty, to display one's skills, and a place to retreat to and live to the end of one's life. Are you familiar with the saying, "When I have achieved my goal, I will return to this place"? It's something along those lines. It means to draw your sword when needed, but also when to put it away in times of peace. Sheaths can be lost or changed, but people always need a place to sheathe their blade, even if it is but a temporary place. I see. That is certainly interesting about the nature and meaning of the word sheath. Do you have any advice for young people out there who may still be struggling to know where to put their sword, for example? It would be presumptuous of me to offer any kind of advice. All I can speak on are the few experiences I have had so far. That is, there are many wishes in the world that may not come true, but even when you feel like you've reached a dead end, that might not yet be the pivotal point. Don't rush, but turn around each time, and by doing so you will inevitably reach your goal. The important thing is to clearly determine what it is that you are trying to protect. First, remember this. The sheathed blade has not yet lost its sharpness. It just merely waits for the time it must be drawn. Thank you so much, Qiuyuan. Tell us about yourself, Qiuyuan. First, what is your favorite place to relax when you have time? When a sword becomes dull, it is polished again. And the same is true when a wielder of the sword becomes tired. When looking for a place to relax, there is a hot spring I know of. It is in a secluded place, shrouded in silence, and the water is hot. Hot enough to wash away the grime of the mundane world. Listening to the rustling of the bamboo leaves, you can enjoy half an hour of purification. I myself go there to heal my wounds. If you plan to go, please let me know in advance. I will adjust my time so as not to disturb you. Please tell us about something that made you happy recently. The other day, while pursuing a criminal, I passed through the city and heard the familiar sounds of my hometown. I stopped to listen and discovered a couple who had come from there and were running a small food stall in this faraway land. They were selling chili oil tofu. I stopped by later when I had some free time to try it, and although the seasoning had been changed somewhat to match the sweeter flavors of the area, the chili peppers that came with it were still quite strong. What is most important to you? The most important thing. Possibly the reason for swords to exist in this world. In the end, you could sum up the answer in 2 words: gratitude and adversary. In the case of adversary, you must strike them down, even at the cost of breaking your own body. And for gratitude, it would be to repay it even at the cost of giving everything you have. An old sword is one that seeks a sheath to return to. You should ask yourself which path to follow, and as long as one is without remorse, that is enough. A little side note about the kanji being used for adversary. They're actually using the same kanji that's here. I'm going to have to reverse this. This is the kanji being used for Qiuyuan. That's in his name, Qiuyuan. In literal, like left to right, adversary far, so it could be like far away adversary or something. I don't know. Of course, we understand that these characters are named with Chinese names, so I don't know if I want to put too much emphasis on the kanji being used. Not until we get any more like strictly, explicitly Japanese-themed characters, such as say Chisa and anyone else we can see in the future. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, the kanji being used is the same that's in Qiuyuan's name. I just thought it'd be an interesting little tidbit to note. Interview with the Japanese VA, Miki Shinichiro. After watching the video, what impression did you have? Please tell us what you think is the appeal of Wuthering Waves. I personally like the emotional imagery. You play the character Qiuyuan. Please tell us what you like and what are his appealing points. I really enjoy characters that have complicated pasts, who don't like to join groups but are also loyal and determined to stick to their beliefs. After learning about Qiuyuan's past and his background as to why he is being pursued, how did you interpret Qiuyuan's state of mind? I thought it seemed very typical of him. For this issue, a new illustration of Qiuyuan is on our cover. Please tell us your thoughts on this illustration. While it exudes a sense of loneliness, I think it also represents his way of life very well. Qiuyuan will be released soon. Please give a message to all the rovers who are looking forward to him. I am curious to see how everyone will receive Qiuyuan and how they will interact with him. As someone who has been entrusted with the voice of this character, I am excited and looking forward to finding out. I look forward to everyone's support. So that was it. What did you guys think? I know it wasn't too much on like the background of stuff. Like I think the voice actor for Qiuyuan was just as sparse and careful with his words as his character. So in that respect, he's the perfect choice. But yeah, guys, this was more of like a lore type of interview type thing. So I hope you enjoyed it either way. And like I said, I will have another video with all the different sections with even more lore and more background for all these other different characters in an upcoming video. So if you're interested in that, make sure you are subscribed. So until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace.